This is Johnny Nelson and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Now, as a British boxing fan, I would love nothing more than to see Lawrence Okolie defend his world title against Richard Riakporhe. Two undefeated fighters, both from huge punchers. Both from looking invincible at times, are they not? Especially lately. So I would love to see that fight. I've done a couple of podcasts with Richard Riakporhe, and each time we've mentioned about Lawrence Okolie, he certainly wants that Lawrence Okolie fight. Anyway, they've done their toe-to-toe on Sky Sports. Richard Riakporhe, he was in the studio for Sky Sports, and Lawrence Okolie is over there in America. So, of course, he was on, was it Zoom or whatever it was that they used? And Lawrence Okolie said that he wants an official call-out from Richard Riakporhe so they can get the fight on. Now, first thing first, Lawrence Okolie, he's got to defend his world title against his mandatory challenger, Light. So that's coming up soon, that'll be on Sky Sports as well. The thing is, I mean, okay, so he wanted like an official call-out from Richard. Of course, Richard, he duly obliged. But I want to see that fight. I'd love to see that fight. Ideal case scenario would be Richard goes fights one of the other champions and picks up one of them belts and then unifies against Lawrence Okolie. Ideal situation, ideal. Maybe Chris Smith, he can go get one too. But of course it ain't the easiest thing in the world, as Lawrence Okolie pointed out, to get champions to fight you. It's almost like you've got to force them to fight you, which shouldn't be the case at all. It really shouldn't be the case, but I would love to see Richard Riakporhe go and get a world title and then unify against Lawrence Okolie. Same with Chris Smith and that as well. So for me, that's me personally, but if that doesn't turn out to be the case and Lawrence is the champion and Riakporhe is the challenger, so be it. Hell of a fight. Love to see that fight. And as Lawrence Okolie did say, though, in that podcast, is that he wants to unify, but it's getting more and more difficult to stay at cruiserweight because the other champions don't want to fight him in order to unify. So he's very tempted to move to heavyweight. So, I'm pretty sure, again, I'm guessing, that's why Sky Sports have signed him. Not for him as a cruiserweight world champion. Of course, listen, Ben Shalom, boxer, Sky Sports, they love cruiserweights, which is great. And they're signing up a whole bunch of them and looking real good. But I think the long-term plan is for Lawrence Okolie to go to heavyweight. And that's when they start reaping the rewards from Lawrence Okolie. Cruiserweight division, unfortunately, isn't the most popping division. It should be. It really should be. But globally, it's just not. It just really isn't. In the UK, it's starting to really take off. And we do have to thank the World Boxing Super Series, Kalle Sauerland and Richard Schaefer and all those, for putting on the World Boxing Super Series to introduce a lot of people to cruiserweights, which is a division that isn't really watched that much, unfortunately. But because of that, people are more and more interested in cruiserweights. So hopefully, we get to see Lawrence Okolie, Richard Riakporhe, Chris Smith. Of course, we've already seen Riakporhe and Chris Smith, that fight. But champion versus champion, I'd love to see Riakporhe go out and get Makabu, for example. I'd love to see Chris Smith go out and get a title and unify against either one or both. Yeah, I mean, fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, who'd you favour out of Richard Riakporhe and Lawrence Okolie? It's tough, isn't it? Really tough. I don't really know who I favour in that, to be honest. Of course, my heart will go to Richard Riakporhe. Obviously because I've done a couple of podcasts on that with him. He's a quality lad, but hell of a fight. Don't be a box office. Maybe. Depends on the interest, I suppose. Anyway, my thoughts. You drop me yours. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.